Thank you very much, and a very good evening to all of you. The first scientific session today is on recent advances in tuberculosis. It's gotten very late already, so I'm not going to take any more time. Just going to go on the top right away. The outline of my talk on recent advances in tuberculosis is on the treatment, diagnostics, and the prevention part of it. Number one, we have to stop the transmission of tuberculosis, neutralize the latent infection, and also treat active tuberculosis. What are the recent advances in treatment of tuberculosis? There are two new drugs which have recently approved for treatment of MDR-TB. They are bedaquiline and delamanine. Bedaquiline is the first new anti-TB drug which has been developed in the last 40 years. It was approved by US FDA in December of 2012, and it was for adults with MDR tuberculosis. Its brand name, as you see, is Turo, and it's presented in 100 milligram tablets. It inhibits growth of actively replicating as well as non-replicating drug-sensitive and drug-resistant M. tuberculosis. It has no drug interaction with the other anti-TB drugs and no cross-resistance either. It decreases energy production in M. tuberculosis by inhibiting ATP synthase 3. Phase 3 trials, clinical trials which were done on this drug showed that some patients did have QT prolongation and also abnormal liver function tests. So if we give this drug, it's a good idea to follow the cardiogram and liver function tests. That's one of the precautions which we have to take while giving this. The dosage is 400 milligrams daily for first 2 weeks, and then 200 milligrams 3 times a day for the next 22 weeks. So total of 6 months. That's the duration of this therapy. The other drug which has been approved recently is delamanine. It was approved by the European Union in November 2013, and it's undergoing phase 3 trials by the US FDA. Its recommended dose is 100 milligrams twice a day for 24 weeks. There are 3 other novel anti-TB drugs which are in advanced stages of development. They are Sutazolid, SQ109, and PA824. They still have, since they are still in research stages, they have not been assigned any names as yet. Sutazolid is a linezolid analog. We have all used linezolid for a long time. And at present, it's currently undergoing phase 2 clinical trials in the US. It acts by inhibiting bacterial protein synthesis. It is supposedly better than linezolid. It has a better antimicrobacterial activity than linezolid, both in vitro and in mouse models. It's better time-dependent killing of bacteria, and it's got improved safety profile compared to linezolid. Sutazolid is an it's got early bactericidal activity, and it has potential to shorten treatment duration. It, if added to standard TB regimen, significantly improves the efficacy. It does not interact with cytochrome P450 enzymes, so thus it's not likely to interact with most antiretrovirals. This being so, it's a good option for HIV patients with tuberculosis to get this. The second drug is also currently undergoing phase 3 clinical trials for MDR-TB. It's SQ109. It's an analog of ethambutol. It's got early bactericidal action. Its synergistic action with INH and rifampin, also with other second second-line anti-TB drugs. It's active against drug-susceptible as well as drug-resistant strains of MTB. The third drug is Pretomanid, or PA824. It's active against drug-susceptible as well as drug-resistant MTB bugs. It's a potent bactericidal and sterilizing action. It also has no significant cytochrome P450 interaction, so it's also useful for patients co-infected with TB and HIV. It is also going phase 3 trials right now. PA824 is active against both active and dormant tubercle bacilli. It is safe, well tolerated and efficacious at doses of 100 to 200 milligrams daily. It's synergistic with moxiflox and pyrazinamide and so has the potential to shorten the treatment. Its mechanism of action is that it inhibits cell wall inhibition. It has cell wall inhibition and also acts as an NO donor. One of the drugs which you've seen on the board here also is Resorin, a joint research of CSIR, Jammu and Kerala Pharmaceuticals. It's been approved by the Indian authorities in 2009. It is something similar to rifampicin but slightly changed, and I have not used it, so I don't have too much experience, but whatever I gathered was that it is a good drug where rifampicin doesn't work. So this slide would tell you all that rifampicin serum levels are low, whereas Resorin are high and sustained. We all know that rifampicin has GI intolerance and also has hepatotoxicity, which is much less with Resorin, and its treatment adherence, since there's less side effects, are much better. So the benefit of Resorin is that it's got lower incidence of GI side effects. It has minimum risk of drug-induced hepatitis and such has reduced relapse rates. Where would I use it? The place of its therapy would be ideal switchover therapy for patients who develop intolerable GI side effects or hepatotoxicity with conventional dosages of rifampicin, or also in patients who have chances of developing hepatitis. Now from drugs to regimen. We all know that TB is not treated by one drug, they're a group of drugs, and that's why there are regimens for that. At the moment, current treatment for drug-susceptible tuberculosis is 6 months, drug-resistant up to 24 months even. And what we hope and achieve by doing all the research is to bring this time frame down to 4 months and also see that they are safer regimen. So the new anti-TB regimen, the objective would be to shorten duration of treatment to 4 months. The largest TB trial around the world. It was called the Lumos TB trial. It's completed, and I think the studies will be published in Lancet. We are lucky to have our participants who will introduce at the end of my talk to say a few words about the results of that trial. So I'm going to skip this and see what I'm saying about that. And this is what I was saying earlier. Moxiflox for drug-sensitive tuberculosis. There are 3 trials done in JHU, which have all shown that the conversion, sputum conversion and culture conversion are much better with moxiflox than with any other drug. Those were the sensitivity drugs. Now there's all combinations to treat MDR-TB. One is NC001, PA824, NC002, which is in the far advanced stages of studies, is PA824, moxiflox and PCA, and so forth. Which stands for shortening treatment of rifampicin, new drugs, is in testing PA824, moxiflox, and pyrazinamide. Is the first trial is a common regimen for drug-sensitive as well as drug-resistant tuberculosis. At the moment, the current MDR treatment being used, and the duration of treatment is from 18 to 24 months. And as we all treat MDR-TB, we know how much side effects there are, how many, and most of the patients do drop out of that. So if regimen goes through, then we will be able to decrease the number of pills up to maybe less than 500 and decrease the treatment phase up to 6 months and would become more affordable. So we have to keep up in the strong, and I think it looks promising as whatever we have available to now. The next study is to evaluate the efficacy of new regimen to shorten treatment duration in MDR-TB. It has got 2 arms, as like most studies have. A 24-month conventional regimen which we all use right now, Voxiflox. Now changing gears and coming to advances in TB diagnostics. We can diagnose tuberculosis by replication of MTB or by checking the immune response to MTB. For replication of MTB, there are antigen detection tests, there are microscopic visualization of bacteria, there are culture-based detection tests, there are nucleic acid amplification tests, and newer ones called volatile organic compounds detection. As far as immune response goes, we all know there's cellular immune response and there's humoral immune response. So there are tests for either and both of them. These are the tests which have been endorsed by WHO right now, which are in the market. The first one is BACT/ST Alert 3D, which is a liquid culture, and the next one is GeneXpert device, which is automated detection and MDR screening. It's a device allows automated sample processing, DNA amplification, and detection of M. tuberculosis, screening for rifampicin resistance. The next is Genotype MTB-DR Plus and MTB-DR-SL, which is a molecular line probe assay. It's a strip test simultaneously which detects tubercle bacteria and genetic mutation that would indicate INH and or rifampicin resistance right away. The last one is Capella TB rapid diagnostic test. It detects a TB specific antigen from positive, liquid or solid cultures to confirm the presence of MTB. It's strip specified. These are the ones which are endorsed by WHO right now. Talking a little bit more about GeneXpert MTB Rift assay. It's the first major breakthrough in TB diagnostics since sputum smear microscopy. It provides simultaneous diagnosis of tuberculosis as well as genotypic rifampicin resistance. It yields positive diagnosis in 99 to 100% of patients with smear positivity and 57 to 83% of patients who are smear negative. It has got 81% sensitivity and for extrapulmonary tuberculosis E also. Its results are available within 2 hours and is particularly useful in TB patients with HIV or suspected cases of MDR-TB. The other test which is being done is MTB drug resistant plus and MTB drug resistant second line. These are 2 tests which are genotype tests, and they are globally they are available. They are DNA strip technology which is being used here. The genotype MTB-R plus will detect tuberculosis complex and its resistance to rifampicin, and the XDR1 detects complexes and its resistance to fluoroquinolones, aminoglycosides, and ethambutol. This being so, we can find out if somebody's got drug resistant or multi-drug resistant tuberculosis or say with drug resistance to second line drugs right away. The starting material for either one of them is pulmonary patient specimens, and they can be either cultured specimens or direct specimens. The turnaround complex and resistance to rifampicin and or INH, and you get rapid results within 5 hours and allows early appropriate treatment and helps to reduce the spread of MDR-TB. The next test which are commercially available are quantiferon TB Gold test, which I am sure a lot of you are using, and T-spot TB test. They measure interferon gamma secreted by the T cells. I'm going to talk a little bit more about quantiferon TB Gold. It's a blood test which measures cell-mediated immune response. It tests to diagnose TB infection, but it does not, I repeat, does not differentiate between active tuberculosis and latent tuberculosis infection. Luckily, it's not affected by BCG vaccination. Serological test for tuberculosis, current test. We were using a lot of serological tests till recently, and its use is discouraged right now by WHO and our regional RNTCP also. Health Ministry and BCGI have banned import and sale of TB serological tests as they do more harm than good. So, these are what are available. What is in the pipeline? So, with the tests which are in developmental stage right now, one is breath analyzer screening test, and the other is lipoarabinomannan detection in urine. The first one, which is breath analyzer screening test, would be useful for screening high-risk groups, and because the results would be available within 10 minutes. This measures the exhaled volatile organic compound. The second one measures urinary levels of MTB's LAN. It is rapid and a simple test and useful for diagnosing TB in HIV co-infected patients. Without prevention, I don't think we can eradicate tuberculosis, but we are very far away from any vaccine as yet. We need vaccines very urgently. The vaccines which are in current status are MVA 858A and ARIES 402, which are in advanced stages of development. They both are in phase 2 right now and have been worked and are showing good promise. The type 2 sets of TB vaccines are under development. One is a BCG replacement vaccine, and the other one is a booster to the BCG vaccine. I'm sure you all are happy. I'm ending it. So the summary is, despite all the advances, TB still remains a major challenge. Rapid diagnosis of TB is possible. Newer drugs have potential to improve outcomes in MDR-TB, and for treatment of drug-sensitive TB, minimum 6 months treatment remains gold standard. I don't think as things stand now, and from whatever I have read in the studies till now, that we can reduce the therapy. And I think as things stand now, DOTS is a good option. They give drugs, they follow patients, and we should use it. Thank you very much. If you don't mind, I'm going to request Dr. Siddharth to tell us a few words about REMOX trial. Is that okay with all of you?
Good evening. REMOX, or the rapid evaluation of moxifloxacin in tuberculosis, is one of the trial indicates with such a large number of patients done on tuberculosis patients. When it was first started in 2012, there were many ethical issues revolving around it. Particularly, the patients were from the third world countries like Asian countries and African countries. And it was, you must have read in the newspapers that the patients or the humans are being used as a guinea pigs. That's true. But when we are talking about the shortening regimens for tuberculosis from 6 months to 4 months, or development of vaccines, we will have to use humans and will have to take permission from the ethical committees. So this is what happened with the REMOX, and when the REMOX was on its way, the study group, which was from the King's College, England, London, they were very enthusiastic that it will come up with the good results and it will be a major breakthrough in tuberculosis treatment, that the drug regimen will be from 6 months to 4 months. It is just 2/3 of the original one. But it didn't happen. And they came out honestly with it. After completion and publication of this trial in New England Journal of Medicine in September issue, it was a 3-arm trial in which The one was the original RHZD, other one moxifloxacin replaced in an INH and in the ethambutol arm. So the phase 3 clinical trial conducted at 50 sites in 9 countries remains one of the largest TB clinical trials. And prior to the initiation of this trial, which was supported by the TB Alliance, Global TB Alliance, there was little infrastructure and capacity to support end-stage or late-stage clinical research. So a roadmap was built to conduct such research. And after completion of this trial, we are coming up with some new ideas. We were not able to reduce the duration, but something new come up. And the things are, any advance that reduces the time span a patient is on medication is definitely welcome. And this was the basic idea or the spirit behind this trial. And the most important part was, we were getting the result of the sputum positivity and sensitivity of the first 9 drugs within 24 hours. As soon as the patient used to come, the sample is to be taken and sent to Delhi, where the standard lab used to conduct on Gene Expert and MDR Plus. And we used to know within 24 hours that our patient is whether naive TB patient, sensitive to all first line drugs or resistant. So if you know this today, in our patients, in general practice, we can do much better for the society, as we can save the spread. If you are treating MDR for 6 weeks, pending the results of LJ media, then of course those 6 weeks are going to be, you are multiplying the bacilli load in the society. So this is one aspect. Another aspect is the further trials are being taken up now to shorten the regime. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gopichand Gupta. Really beautiful presentation. You covered all the aspects regarding management and diagnosis, research. Definitely, moxifloxacin is very good drug in MDR patients as well as category 1 or category D, even in new patient or retreatment patients. Is a very good drug as a anti-tubercular. Now the really very good drug in those patients who is having side effect of rifampicin and paraginamide. In those patients, I have been in the department, that is a very good response, more than 85% to 90%. Side effect is very less, so definitely Rizuril is very good drug. Now the session is closed. Thank you all.